minuses. So infrastructure as a service, you can run anything any way you want. One of our customers is like a hot and upcoming startup, and they've made like hundreds of millions of dollars from venture capitalists, and they can't deal with their growth, and they don't have time to deal with like growing technical debt, so they just buy a ton of compute engine resources and like run a they buy the largest one possible and throw Redis on it and be like caching, and that their entire process is like start up a new big machine, add Redis, download the config, and like keep going until things aren't read anymore. And the nice thing is it's easier to migrate to and off of. Like it's the same thing as like any of these machines, arguably at a much larger scale. But it's the same kind of idea. It's still a Linux box. It still has all the sort of classic tools that you're thinking of. And as you get much larger scale, it is a little cheaper than running a platform as a service in that you're not paying them the overhead of them doing your operations for you. Cons, it is a lot more work than like a platform as a service, just because you have to like pay attention to your configs. You have to pay attention to like where your application's running and things like that. There's also there's usually free tiers, which is nice, but they tend to provide really inconsistent performance. On a lot of times you start sharing. If you think of like your classic web host, you're sharing the computer with other people. So back when I was talking about like, hey, one process can like totally screw you over, that can happen when you don't even know who that, like you can't even see those other processes because someone's hogging the CPU. Hopefully the provider will build some sort of tool that says like, oh, hey, you're using 1.2 of the CPU, like get off. But you're trusting the implementation of the cloud provider to do that. And it's actually a lot more expensive than owning your own hardware. So like if you know exactly, if you have very consistent traffic, like really consistent traffic, then if you know you're going to get 300 QPS for the rest of your life, then it's cheaper to just buy the hardware, fly it to a colo, put it in there. That being said, you don't have the ability to kind of scale from that unless you go buy the hardware, fly it to the colo, and go there and install it. So if you look at a lot of the marketing of a lot of the IaaS companies, it's usually focused around companies that have batch workloads. They're selling to like the Netflix and the Instagrams of the world that have to do large amounts of like video processing or image processing, where when you get a new video, you spin up a new computer, do the computation, and like save it off the disk instead of like having this constantly running server. Platforms as a service, pros, as I kind of mentioned, low maintenance. Like if you've ever deployed either Heroku or App Engine, it's literally like git push or upload, and like walk away. You now have a domain, it's running your code, it's pretty awesome. They give you a database, etc. And they usually have great developer communities. I mean, if you search like how do I run X on Heroku or how do I run X on App Engine, there's usually like tons of Stack Overflow posts and tons of documentation from the company telling you how to do these things, because their whole goal is to attract developers. And if you're a developer, that's awesome. And scaling is just a slider or some sort of automated system, so you don't have to be like, well, now I got to go spin up a new machine. They just kind of go like, throop, and now you're running in 5 places instead of 2. Cons, it's pretty expensive. Both App Engine and Heroku have a free tier. Like the problem with Heroku's is like they kill your entire, they kill your system when you're not, if you don't generate, you have to generate like 5 QPS per, on average across 30 minutes, or they kill your system or something like that. But as soon as you start paying them, then they're like, oh yeah, sure, we'll keep it around. And App Engine, I think it's once you reach a certain level of queries, they start charging you. And they have restrictions on what you can host and or build. App Engines, basically you can run like Python, Go, or anything runs on a JVM. Heroku has a wider variety of stuff, but it's also, they have this whole thing called build packs, so you have to make sure that there is basically a shell script that initializes a VM based on the type of code you want, and you have to make sure that that has the specifics for your code. Yeah, so that's kind of it. The cloud.google.com has like more marketing material about how awesome App Engine and Compute Engine are. And then also those cards I passed out have, I think it's like $2,000 if you fill out the form. Basically they want to know like, who are you? And please tell us you're not going to be doing Bitcoin mining on our servers. And then you get the quota. Yeah, questions? Yes, no? All right. Well, yeah?
So, in a given data center, where you have, like you were talking about 10,000 hard drives and 9 will fail in a day.
Yeah.
So how many people does it, do you know, like how many people are employed at a data center that have to run around and swap hard drives?
I don't know. My guess would be like in the factor of like tens, so like 40 or 50 probably.